Hey y'all, my name is Serena and this is Serena's Art Adventures. Welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to share with you guys some kitchen crochet patterns for Thanksgiving. I thought that it would be a really good idea to do Thanksgiving things that are like for the kitchen, since Thanksgiving's about enjoying a meal together with your family. So I usually try to find some themed patterns every month for the holiday coming up. And with this Thanksgiving coming up this upcoming month, I thought that kitchen themed items would be a really good idea. And the really cool thing about the kitchen themed items is you can either use them to decorate your own home if you're hosting, or you can use some of these items as a gift if you're going to somebody's Thanksgiving get together, where you can put them together a little thank you for having me over package if you want. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first item on the list, which is hot pads. Now, there are tons of different hot pad patterns out there. You can definitely find some that are free. This one specifically is a paid for pattern. Within this video, I have a mix of paid for patterns and free patterns. So feel free to find your own inspiration for all of these, or to find the links of any of the ones that you might want to look at yourself. You can look at the description box of this video. I always post a Canva document that has all the links to everything that we talk about here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these really neat Thanksgiving patterns. First up on the list is a hot pad. I found a hot pad that I wanted to share with you guys on Etsy. It is $4.50 for this pattern. This one right here is a peach pie pattern. I absolutely love the way that this one isn't just the peach pie, but it has the little slices of peach on top. That's why I chose this pattern. I saw a lot of pie patterns you can do. Hi. Surprise, surprise, we have an intruder again. This happens every time I'm home. Now say hi to the camera. Say hello. Look, we're filming today. Yes. Anyways, sorry for the interruption. Anyway, so we have the peach pie pot holder crochet pattern, and this one is from Country Life in Crochet. Now, what I was gonna say about the pie pattern is I saw a bunch of different pie pot holder patterns online. I'm sure you can find a free one as well. The reason I wanted to share this one is I hadn't seen any that also had the crocheted little like fruit on top as well. And I think it makes it look so much cuter. I love the little bow that they put on this one as well. I think that also makes it really cute. So I wanted to share this pattern with you guys. There are other free patterns just online for the pie pot holders, but I think the pie pot holders are very cute. My favorite type of pot holder personally is to make two squares with Tunisian crochet and sew the front and the back together. So if you wanted to, you could use some Thanksgiving colors, some yellows, some browns and whites and whatnot to make a really nice looking pot holder as well. And the reason I like Tunisian crochet rather than regular crochet is Tunisian crochet creates almost like a double thickness of what a regular crochet is. So you've got the double thickness on the front and the double thickness on the back, and you sew those together and it makes something that is a lot thicker than a traditional hot pad that is just crocheted. Because for me, I've done like some crochet hot pad where I crochet a front and a back, or just try to make like a very thick stitch and make a hot pad, and that was a bad idea. You definitely need a front and a back at the very minimum if you're not going to be using Tunisian crochet. But with how thick the Tunisian crochet is, I almost think you could get away with a single layer, but I highly recommend doing a double layer. You're not going to burn yourself with a front and a back of the Tunisian crochet. So that's personally my favorite. But as far as just like something cutesy, decorative, maybe something that you can use also as a trivet that's just really pretty to have out on the counter, I just thought that these peach pie pot holders would be fantastic for Thanksgiving. All right, so next up is washcloths. There are tons of free washcloth patterns online as well. I actually downloaded a book on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can do this as well. That had like 10 different washcloth patterns in them. The reason I like to download patterns for these is to learn new stitches, right? A washcloth is a really neat way to learn a new stitch. Well, I saw the Star Stitch washcloth and I haven't used the Star Stitch before. So this is a washcloth that I myself would like to make, so I thought that you guys would like it as well. So this is called the Easy Beginner Star Stitch. It's a free pattern. It's on lifeandyarn.com. And with washcloths, the best thing to do is to use cotton yarn, but I have found that recycled cotton is pretty decent, and so is the peaches and cream yarn. So, oh, and the lily sugar and cream yarn is good as well for washcloths. I would love to test some more cotton yarns though and find the best cotton yarn. If you do want some cotton yarn reviews, I have a cotton yarn video where I reviewed a couple of different cotton yarns that I tested out for washcloths in a video a couple months back. So if you want to check that out, I would highly appreciate it. But anyway, we'll move on to the next pattern. Next up, we have towels, kitchen dish towels specifically. This you're going to want to use cotton yarn for as well because of its absorbency. This design is from KristaCodesign.com. It is also a free pattern, but the reason I like this one specifically is I like the way that you can wrap it around and just tuck it in itself. The slit in the washcloth is very unique and it's something that I haven't seen before until I was looking for some dish towel patterns. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a smart idea. I love it, and it's definitely not something that you get in traditional, but that eliminates the need for crochet hanging utensils that like allow you to hang your towels off of them, where you crochet something and you can button it around the towel and then put the towel through the ring. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I actually do have a pattern for you guys on the Canva document as well. So since we're talking about the towel hangers already anyway, I'll go ahead and show you guys from crocheteverything.com. There is a free design of exactly what I'm talking about, so you can kind of see what I mean in the picture here. And I really like the scallop border that they put around it. What's really nice about this though is that when you're in the kitchen cooking all day or cooking a lot within a day, it's really nice to be able to switch out your kitchen towel because I don't know about you guys, but I use mine often and it will get wet and dirty very quickly on a Thanksgiving day. So something like this would actually be really good for just being able to switch it out. And then once you have company over, then you can put out the nice one that is fully crocheted that you just tuck within itself. I really, really like the way that this looks too. This looks really, really unique. And I just kind of bring it up beside me so I can talk about it with you guys. And I don't know, I really like this. And this pattern picture right here makes me want to crochet a couple of them for my home. Next up, I actually shared a trivet with you guys. This one is a very colorful pattern. The way that they do some of the color changes in some of these trivets, they look really, really nice. But you can use some Thanksgiving colors, again, some browns and yellows and white and whatnot to kind of make some really nice looking trivets. You can also just go like all black, maybe all orange, something like that. But I really like these trivet hot pads because they have a lot of texture to them, so it allows the pan to cool a little bit by not being laid out on such a flat um, area. So I do like to use trivets myself when I'm taking stuff out of the oven and setting it down. I want to have somewhere to set it on. So that's always nice, and a trivet is great for that. This will work great as a gift or as different places throughout your kitchen counter to set pots and pans on. That's personally what I use it for. This one is a 2 pound 50. I'm not quite sure how to say that, or about $3.51 American. It's on Ravelry. It just is called Trivet Hot Pad and it's by Andrea Leek. And she published this one back in 2020. It uses a 4 millimeter hook and about 109 yards of yarn. Now, the next thing that I have is a table runner. Now, crochet table runners are very beautiful. I found a few patterns that I really, really liked that were very like Thanksgiving themed, but then I found this free pattern and I want to share as many free patterns with you guys as I can. And personally, the way that they use the light brown, the white, and the mustard yellow in here, it really brings in those fall colors and it really complements that fall vibe that you might be going for Thanksgiving. So this would be a really neat thing. The thing I like about crocheting table runners is you can crochet your table runner to whatever size your table is. This table runner right here, it just has a lot of like texture to it, and it does have a couple of different color changes, and I think it has a really nice look. I really like how they paired some flowers that matched the colors and kind of took some aerial shots of it that way. Kind of shows that you can make something like this and put a bouquet together that kind of matches the tablecloth and make it look really nice. And it would be a great way to make a beautiful setup for if you're hosting Thanksgiving yourself. It could also make a great gift, but it's a little harder to know what other people's aesthetics are unless you know them real well. So if you know their aesthetic, you can make them this as a gift as well. The next one that I brought up is kind of really adorable. I personally would put these out at everybody's dinner plate, but you could put these out specifically at the children's dinner plates. But these turkey silverware holders are super adorable. The awesome thing about this pattern is it's a free pattern on Yarnspirations. They use Red Heart Super Saver yarn, and Red Heart Super Saver yarn is super budget friendly. There is absolutely nothing more Thanksgiving than these silverware holders. If all you did was crochet these cute silverware holders, even just for the children's table, that would be just such a great touch to a little Thanksgiving meal with the kiddos and with your family. But anyway, I digress. I just love these. They're so cute. They remind me, I think they're nostalgic for me. They remind me of when we used to like paint little hand turkeys and stuff like that in elementary school. So yeah, this looks like a really fun pattern. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is aprons. There's tons of apron patterns online. I found a free apron pattern for you guys. The pattern that I found specifically for you guys is a waist only one. So it's a quick, free, and easy pattern. And I really like the size of the pocket that they put on the apron. That is really nice. But if you want an apron that would also protect your top and not just have a pocket and be available to help protect your waist, I would definitely look at some of the other patterns available online. That there are tons of free ones that have the top part also. Or you could, if you're good enough at crochet, you could kind of like use this pattern as just inspiration and kind of make it your own and just add to this pattern the little square that would cover your top and like a neck piece to tie around your neck. That's an option as well. The next pattern that I'm sharing with you guys is a $4 paid for pattern on Etsy. Now you can totally find some placemats for free of all different shapes and colors. One of the ones that I saw online when I was looking was a pumpkin and a pumpkin placemat and a pumpkin coaster, which I thought was super cute, to kind of do something like that. So you could go like that direction with it, or this one right here is a fall gingham placemat crochet pattern. The reason that I included this one, I really like how they, instead of going with like the white, they went with like a beige and orange and like a brown. It's kind of like an orangey brown and it's kind of like a burnt orange. And then they went with kind of like a tan color rather than like a striking white color. But the color combo that they used here is very pretty. But the gingham pattern in general, I feel like this is a really cute pattern. I love the scallop border. It looks like it's going to be fairly easy with the exception of color changes. I've never done a gingham pattern anything before, so if I were to make something gingham pattern, I'd probably want to start off by following a pattern. And this one right here is kind of a little bit more elevated, a little less playful and a little bit more like of a really nice table setup would be these, fall gingham placemats. The next thing that I wanted to share with you guys is hanging baskets for veggies. Now, one of the patterns is a tiered mesh basket. This one looks really nice. I'm not quite sure how much weight it will hold. So if you have something super heavy like apples and onions or things like that, you might want something with a little bit more structure and that has the capacity to hold that weight. So I did actually find another pattern for you guys. So in this category, there's two different patterns. And these are just kind of like hanging baskets that you hang on like a hook on the wall or something like that. And as you can tell, it can hold a little bit more weight. So it would be good for things like garlic and onions or maybe some like a small amount of potatoes. Definitely not a large amount though. but these little hanging baskets are neat as well. I feel like the yarn for this type of hanging basket is going to have to be a lot sturdier. So I'm wondering what they use. I'll figure out what they use in here. This pattern right here is a $3 pattern. Oh, okay. I use two, so probably double stranded, 560 jute thread in addition to a number 5 hook. Okay. So this hanging pattern, or this hanging basket pattern, is a $3 pattern, as to where this tiered mesh basket was $3.50 for the pattern. I just feel like with this one, you're with the tiered mesh basket, you're gonna want to put some lighter items in there. You're not gonna want it to get too heavy. In this image right here, it looks like there is some bananas hanging on the bottom basket. So, you could probably put some garlic on the top and maybe a couple of oranges or apples on the middle, but you definitely don't want it to get too heavy, especially depending on the amount of weight that the hook in your ceiling can handle. So that's another thing that you want to make sure to look at as well when you're hanging these baskets is the size and weight capacity of the hook, and make sure you actually hook it into a beam when you're screwing it into the ceiling. But this one just looks very elevated. I like this yellow tiered hanging basket personally a little bit better than these crochet hanging baskets as far as like the looks of them go, but I think they can both look nice. I personally prefer the tiered hanging basket. I think it looks really nice. So next up, we have a microwave bowl cozy. The quick microwave bowl is really nice to have. Whether you're serving something that you wanted to keep hot, you can kind of put this around there to make sure nobody like burns themselves. So I really love the idea of this bowl cozy. So you could make this for a gift for somebody. You could make it as like just a way to decorate up the bowls in your house. If you don't have very festive bowls and you want to be a little more festive, you can make one of these and just be a little bit more colorful and festive and cute for your display. Or you can use this to keep something warm and keep it nice and like insulated while you're traveling to somebody's house. Maybe you guys are doing like a potluck dinner. You can use this in a serving bowl that you're taking somewhere just to keep it nice and insulated, basically. The next category I have for you guys is coasters. Now, with the coasters, there are two different patterns that I ended up saving for you guys. The first one is a pumpkin pie slice coaster. It is from speedycrochet.com. And I don't know, just look at that. That is absolutely adorable. I really like how the whipped cream, or maybe that's supposed to be pie crust, I guess. Originally I thought whipped cream, but now I'm looking at it. Okay, that makes sense. That's the pie crust. But I like how I've seen some like really aesthetic um, pumpkin pie cup holders, and some of them had right in the middle, like what was supposed to be the whipped cream. But in my opinion, when you do that, it just messes. You want something flat to put your cups on. So it messes with the availability of it to like remain flat and hold a cup without making it kind of all wonky. So this was a perfect way to do it. And what's really neat about this is you can kind of assemble some of these together and make them look like a little pie, right? Or you can just stack them. But either way, they're absolutely adorable. Now, the other coasters that I have on here kind of match the vibe or the aesthetic of the silverware holders that I shared with you guys earlier. I really wanted to show you guys the pumpkin pie slice one, but since we had the Thanksgiving turkey earlier, I thought it would be really cute to show you guys these Thanksgiving turkey butt looking coasters. I really like it. It kind of reminds me of like a peacock. But when you have a little cup on here, as you see in this picture right here, when you have a little cup on there, it looks super adorable. I really, really like this one. And if you do end up doing a little like turkey silverware holder and then you did the little turkey cup coasters as well, that would be really cool. And I absolutely love the color choices that they use on these. I love that they give you some options for some different color choices so you can kind of have the visual and see what it would look like with some different color choices. I love when patterns do that. Next up is a cup cozy. This is also a free pattern. It is the pumpkin pie cup cozy free pattern, but this one actually makes sense for it to have a little dollop of whipped cream on there. You can have a dollop of whipped cream on maybe on the front and the back. I'd probably put two on there personally. Or you can just put one so that you kind of always know where the front of the cup is. But I really like this one. I like that the bottom looks like it's more of like a ribbing, so it might be a little bit stretchier, so that it can kind of fit different sized cups. But this one would also be a really great idea if you're going to somebody's Thanksgiving get together to make them like one or two of these cup cozies. And if you're really nice, you'll show up with a cup cozy on a cup and some fresh coffee in it. And you'll show up a few minutes early and you'll give it to your host and you'll be like, "Here, I got you." That's what I want to do now. But anyway, this was absolutely adorable, and it looks like this one also has some ideas for some coasters for pumpkin pie. Instead of using the bobble stitch on the edge, they use a scallop border and they just use like a circle instead of a triangle. So instead of a slice of pie, it looks like a whole pie. But this is another one of those patterns that even on the little coaster, they put the little dollop of whipped cream. And I don't like that. Not on a coaster. It's not gonna be level with your cup when you put it on there. So it seems silly to me, but to each their own. These are pan protectors by Musa Designs. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is free patterns as well, and it's available in three sizes. But once you kind of know the construction and how to make it, if you need a different size, you can probably just use your crochet knowledge to make the size that you need. And it doesn't have to look perfect, right? Now, this specifically, in my opinion, if you're going to somebody's hosted get together and it's not like a potluck situation and they're hosting the entire thing, if you do want to bring a gift, this is a really nice gift. It's something not most people have, and it's a really great way to make sure that when they're stacking their pans, they're not getting scratched because with certain pans, if they get scratched at all, they're not really much good anymore, right? With most pans, really. So I really like the idea of these little pan protectors. So it would make a great gift. Just throwing that out there. If you know somebody, you don't think they have them, or even if they do have some, you can always use more. Because even if you had a set of three, most people have more than three pans. I don't know about y'all, but I know I do. I have way more than three pans. But yeah, those are really, really neat pan protectors. The next item up on the list is a stool cover crochet pattern. Now, the crochet pattern that I found is a stool cover, super simple circular design. You might have a square stool, so maybe that doesn't work for you. But if you did, you could do like a little granny square and then build it out. And then towards the end, where you would kind of want to tuck it in, you kind of go down a couple of rows so you'll work increases until the size that you want, and then you'll work regular so that it works up, or technically, I guess, down. And then you can put in elastic uh, around the edge of the last row, and then that way, when you put it on your stool, it kind of stays nice there. But I like this stool cover crochet pattern for the circular one because it's using like a blanket yarn. So it's automatically going to have like a little bit more of a cushiony effect for those really kind of hard round bar stools. My mom actually has two round bar stools that we use quite a bit at her house, and I have a bunch of blanket yarn at her house. So I'm thinking I might have to make a couple of these Bernat blanket stool covers for her. I might make them in a couple of different colors, but she has very earth tones, like a lot of earth tones in her home. So I feel like a dark green or a dark brown would look really well. But you could keep it very simple, but I've also seen a couple pictures online that were paid for patterns that they made it kind of look like a mushroom by crocheting some extra little like white circles and placing them around the um, cushion that they made. So that's a great idea. So we're going to move on to the next pattern. The next pattern is a pot scrubber. So I know we looked at like some washcloths and some hand towels already, but little pot scrubbers are so important. Like there is washcloths and hand towels, and then there's pot scrubbers. Now I've used scrubby yarn to make some scrubbies for my mom and for my house, and they make such a big difference. Okay, if you haven't used one or whatnot. Like I just I was surprised by the first time I used a pot scrubber. I was like, holy cow, that actually comes out a lot better. Because I used to use even just like the green part of a sponge, the back of a sponge. In my opinion, these crocheted pot holders work better. Maybe it's because I want my stuff to work really well and it's all in my head. But regardless, I think these pot holders are really cool. Now, I've never used the yarn that they use in this pattern specifically. However, I have used the whatever is at Hobby Lobby. I think it's Yarn Bee brand, but there is a pot scrubber yarn at Hobby Lobby that is kind of like tubular and it has a really great texture on the outside for scrubbing pots. I really wish I could remember the name of it at the moment. It's escaping me. But the stuff at Hobby Lobby that you can get for scrubbing pots, that's perfect. All you gotta do is crochet yourself a little circle. But this one specifically is really cool. I like the little stem and the little I don't know what to call that, vine, I think. The little stem and the little vine that come off the top of this pumpkin is absolutely adorable. I'm not quite sure how well the scrubby yarn that they use for this pattern actually works, but I have heard good things about this type of scrubby yarn as well. But we are finally to the last kitchen item, and this one was actually a little bit of a surprise to me, a bread bag. Now, originally I was like, you don't want to use acrylic for a bread bag because the fibers, you don't want like acrylic fibers near your food. Okay. However, if you use a cotton yarn, this is totally doable. And I was thinking about that. So hopefully that's what they use here. Yep, 100% cotton yarn for easy washing. Yep, okay. That's good. So they use some cotton yarn. And then I saw it as like a little sourdough loaf. With how popular sourdough loaves are right now, there's a few different ways you can do this. You can make a cute little sourdough wrap and gift it to your friend that is a sourdough lover themselves. Or if you are a sourdough maker yourself, you could bring a batch of sourdough even to a Thanksgiving get together that you're not supposed to bring anything. Like, even if it's not a potluck situation, you can still bake a loaf of bread, put it in the hand crocheted little bread bag, and bring it over as like a little gift or, you know, serve it, make it for yourself. I mean, personally, with some of these items, I definitely would make them for myself. The gingham placemat, the silverware holder, and this bread bag, these are all things that I would make for myself. I like the bread bag. It allows it to get a little bit of air, but kind of protects it from some of the elements. And it's just really cute. So, you know, you want to leave your bread out on the counter, but you want it to be cute. There you go. Right? I don't know. It's just so cute. I just want to look at some of the pictures. Okay, so let's look at some pictures with me. Anyway, I had a great time looking at these different kitchen items that you can crochet for you or for your family or for a loved one of some sort. I hope that you enjoyed looking at these with me as well. Let me know in the comments what pattern is your favorite. I'm thinking about which pattern is my favorite right now, and due to nostalgia, I'm gonna say the turkey wear silver holder. That one has my vote. Please let me know which one is your favorite pattern that I shared in the video. If you want to check out any of these patterns for yourself, please feel free to go ahead and click in the description document in the box below the video, and you can see all of these in the order that we talked about them. So thank you so much for staying around with me and checking out these patterns. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. I know I really enjoyed making today's video. And thank you so much for sticking around with me. If you don't mind doing all the great things that help this channel, such as share, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified anytime I post a video, that would be great. I love posting pattern videos. These videos are not going away. I post usually about one a month. This year I did holidays, and next year I'm thinking about doing something a little different. I don't know if I'm going to stick with wearables or what, but this time around I did a bunch of different holiday themed things. So feel free to check out my crochet ideas playlist so that you can get all the crochet and inspiration for all the different holidays throughout the year. And yeah, next year I'm going to switch it up a little bit from just focusing on holidays and doing something a little bit different. So stay tuned for that. I'm still kind of working up what I'm going to be doing for next year, but I still have a little bit of time. I will be putting out a Christmas video towards the end of November for Christmas crochet patterns. So feel free to watch out for that as well. As always, thank you so much for joining me and have a great rest of your day.